Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Greetings, salutations, and welcome to Retrek. I'm Captain Jim. With me, of course, Sir Admiral Elliot.
Hi there.
And Dr. Squee.
Dragon! Oh, crazy hair.
And we're here to talk a little bit more about the Dominion War. Getting so close to the end of it now. But the 2 episodes we're looking at this week are When It Rains and Tacking Into the Wind.
Yeah, I must admit, more so than I think any other in this 6-parter, the first one we're going to talk about tonight is the one which has least identity of its own. Not that that's a bad thing. It is an ongoing story we're covering. But like most of them, you can say, like the second part, you can say, oh, it's the one where Martok and Worf finally stand up to Garrow.
Yeah.
The one before, you've got, oh, God, the Breen invented the war, and you've got this, that, and the other. This one is like, it's sort of like, it's more of a corridor than a room, but it's one action on every story level.
There's a lot happens in it, but it's more of a bridging episode. It hasn't sort of like got like when we always talk about the A story and the B story and the C plot, it hasn't got then that sort of wrap up in an episode. It's very much a middling episode, bridging episode.
Well, yeah, and what I was saying was like it's kind of like it doesn't open any new storylines really.
No.
Storyline we're going with, and it doesn't have that mic drop moment of like, oh my god, this is the episode where it's just this the episode where all the plot which we've already established, which needs time to kind of breathe, is just happening. Which is
it does. It does a lot of stuff, and it's an important episode because of what it does. Though
it does start the Kira helping the Cardassian resistance story-line, I suppose. But
I would argue that's continuing on the Kardashian story.
It does start the end of Gowron's story.
But I'd say that's more the next episode you get.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's no standout.
I know what you mean.
It introduces them really into it, but it doesn't.
It's clutching at straws, trying to think of something.
Yeah, but it's like, again, you've got like a 6-part, 8-part, wherever it is, epic. If you want one part where it's like it's just continue on story, I think that's all right with all the storylines.
Absolutely, yeah. And the first story thread that it picks up then is last week we met the most devastating Breen weapon ever that destroyed the Defiant, and it was all over. Oh, but a Klingon bird of prey survived it immediately. And it's the sort of thing that you don't notice unless you're watching them back to back. But they introduce this huge new threat, and then we've kind of solved it pretty quickly, but it's okay.
To be honest with you, I think it's just solving enough that you can keep the action going. It's not really solving. You've got hundreds of ships which are, able to face this weapon.
It's putting enough of a barrier there that they can't be wiped out immediately because of this weapon.
Yeah.
There's enough of a buffer just to hold them back a little bit.
And it does create this nice dynamic where all of a sudden it's only the Klingons who can do anything for a couple of episodes, which is what escalates the Gowron, Martok, Worf situation.
I kind of admire the Klingons for not gloating at all. Like, I expected a bit of Klingon bragging at this point, saying, "Ha! Our mighty ships, even the oldest of our ships, can do what you are."
Yeah, someone's probably right. Someone's probably writing an opera about how when they designed the bird of prey, they knew that all those years later.
That's why Starfleet wasn't invited to the blood wine party, because they wanted to brag the fuck out of that. They're we should probably keep our allies sweet for a little while. Let's go and brag over the blood wine.
And that time Kirk stole a bird of prey. All they did was crash it into San Francisco Bay. They did not take the Breen repellent out of it. Anyway, so the Cardassian resistance then. So they've got this plan. We're going to send Kira and we're going to send Garak, which is interesting. But it's like, wait a minute. they're not going to respect a Bajoran. So we better make Kira a member of Starfleet and put her in a Starfleet uniform. Is this just for the dads? Like, I seem to remember a lot of people talking on forums or whatever back in the day saying, whoa, Kira would look really hot in a Starfleet uniform. And it's almost like we've only got a few episodes to go. Shall we just do it? Shall we just give the fans what they want?
Already in this series, you've got her in very much a one-piece kind of like a little bit more Troy-esque kind of outfit, shall we say, than in previous series.
Yes, like they make it work within the plot, but it's not essential to the plot that Kira becomes a part of Starfleet, and it did just feel like fulfilling some fantasies, shall we say.
It didn't feel too forced though, because it does make sense that the Cardassians wouldn't take orders from a member of the Bajoran militia.
Yes, as I say, they made it work, but if they hadn't have thrown that in there, no one would have noticed.
It's definitely fan service putting her in a Starfleet universe.
Also,
and she does look bloody good in a Starfleet uniform.
I'm not denying that.
Well, I know. She was a big fan of this outfit, and I was also adding that maybe it's not coincidental timing. Just when they kill off Jadzia Dax, who is basically, no matter which way you cut it, like, and she was very sex positive. I think she was a great kind of female role model, but she looked very attractive. She was used in that role, at least partly. She dies off, and then suddenly we're seeing Kira in a lot more one pieces. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Maybe the time.
When they were both cast, Nina and Terry, they were both cast as being ex-models. So they were cast as being iconed in a pair of them when they came in.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that goes back to your Rick Berman of it all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But not to knock either of them as an actor. They're both brilliant actors. But
that's part of the casting decision.
I mean, you could tell Berman perhaps had a little less influence as Deep Space Nine went on, in the fact that I think the way that Dax is written, again, I think she's a great example of like where she is very sexy and everything, but she's used very sex positive, very kind of female positive. She's no one's fool. She's not kind of subordinate in that kind of role just because she's sexy. I think that's just one of the best done to date at that point, kind of female characters in Star Trek. Like they still kept the sexiness, but without it being kind of a feeling exploitative.
Yeah.
Apart from maybe the outfit on Ryder. Maybe
well, let's throw Kira in a Starfleet uniform just to make some of the fellas watching happy. Anyway.
Yeah, it's
but you can't, let's be honest, you can't say that the Starfleet uniform is, or at least the trouser and top one.
No, I know,
but one was designed to be sexy with the mini
I just think it played into a very particular part of the fandom, is all I'm saying.
And you think that waistcoat that Cisco wears wasn't in there for the ladies? Come on now.
No, absolutely. They're good waistcoats.
Hey, some of the men and some of the others. I'm not saying it. Just
back to Kai Wynn now.
For all of us, let's just say.
And Kai Wynn is pretending to look for Sobar, which we all know what she's done to Sobar, but she's my favourite character, Sobar. But anyway.
Well, so when she tries to take the moral high ground with Descartes, it's like, oh, I hated having to kill him. You didn't have to kill him. Like, it's
exactly.
Gun to her head, forcing her to kill him.
But at this point, she's kind of making out like she's fallen out with Descartes. You know, she's not happy. She's like, I found out that you were...
Yeah, isn't that typical of a Cardassian to gloat over an old man's death?
It's like, well, you killed him, love. Descartes didn't kill him. And yeah, he's not allowed to look at the book, is the thing. That's secret. That's only for the Kai that you're allowed to look at the evil book of evil. And obviously, Descartes, presumably the Power Wraiths have told him that we need Wynn on our team. But that's like Descartes' greed, isn't it? And his arrogance that, no, but, you know, they might be saying that, but I need to have a look at this book.
It's his arrogance that he can do it on his own, that he's better.
I also think there is a bit of game playing the same way as I think the prophets do sometimes play a bit like this. Sometimes they could just go on, Cisco, this is what we're going to do, all right? There's a plan. Great. Let's go with it. But instead, they love to do the mythos and like show them obscure visions and then reveal stuff later on down the line. I think it's the same thing happened in Power Race. They knew that Descartes would look in the book, they would blind him at that point.
Probably,
it would lead Kai Will on a certain path. I feel like always when there's like something like this happening, there's the Power Race version of the future, and then there's the Prophets version of the future. And I think there is some sort of like, they're always kind of changing each other's kind of like future, like by stuff they do. It's kind of like, or at least able to see different realities of what happens.
Well, it's like, this is like they're both stuck on the same one, and there's going to be a convergence, but they don't know which way it's going to go at a certain point, and they're both working towards it and trying to favor their side.
I mean, I think the only thing that works when you've got two groups of omniscient beings who each are working to their own ends, who can see the future, like, unless they can both see who wins, which doesn't seem to be in play, I think they've got to be able to see the future if they win or if they win, like, no matter what happens.
Yeah, they must do. Otherwise, the Pirates would just give up, wouldn't they? So they'd be like, well, we know we don't win. So
there's a path, and there's a point where there's going to be a convergence, and I don't know which one of them will be the one that'll be real after.
Jim, spoilers. Maybe the prophets are watching and thinking like we won't bother.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Who knows which way it might go?
The Pirates might win. Yeah. Okay. So, Garak and Damar. Then I like the interplay between them, and you get this stuff with Damar where he's talking to his mate as well. Where
I was going to say, it's Damar.
I forget what his mate's name is. I've got it written down.
Something like
Lestat, that's it.
Yeah, it's character Damar and Lestat, who like is basically like the same as like the new Dax. You know that he's just brought in. It's like we need someone to like be old school Kardashian while
what we need is
while Damar's having his like come to Jesus moment, realizing he's been wrong all these years. We need someone to be Damar classic.
That's it. Yeah,
we'll put this one in.
Yeah, you're gonna be Gold the Cat, and you're now playing Damar.
Exactly. Yeah, you need, now that Damar's moved out of the Damar role, Damar needs a Damar. Yeah, and that's who we've got in Lestat.
I feel like they went around the right room. It's like, have we established a third Kardashian in their little crew? Nope. Okay, let's chuck one in.
Well, we saw was it last episode or 2 episodes ago?
Yeah, but that's why. That's when he was brought in to be.
No,
he's been in it. He was introduced. He's been elevated now.
Yeah, it was very much shoehorned in quickly.
The start of like the friction between them is that you get Damar's saying, well, of course I used to hate Kira, but I can't afford to now because there's bigger things, whereas Lesat's like, no, I still hate her.
And like with the plans, and he's going, why we're helping the Federation, and Damar tells him straight, we're all in this together.
Yeah, that's it.
We need them and they need us to win. We all have to work together in this now.
Damar's seen the much, much bigger picture now. Whereas, even Descartes didn't do that. He was always about grabbing the power. But I think if Descartes had been in power at this point, he may have made the same decision, but he would have done it for his own ends rather than liberating Cardassia. It would have been, liberate Cardassia so I can rule it.
Like, I don't think Damar is actually after the power. Damar is genuinely after liberating Cardassia.
That's it.
If it was Gold the Cat would be in it with the Federation to liberate Cardassia, but only so he could have the power of ruling Cardassia at the end. And having a big control part in the Alpha Quadrant as being a major player.
Thing which I found really interesting was with this new character who's kind of, as I say, he's meant to be the voice of Cardassia old. It's kind of really weird because we've kind of compared some of this stuff to the Russia-Ukraine war, kind of, and like many other kind of current modern day warfare. I just listened to a really interesting podcast called Legacy, where it goes through the legacy of different kind of politicians, celebrities, artists, whatever. And they just did a series on Gorbachev, which is kind of really interesting because he was kind of like seen in the West as a modernizer and everything. And then right after you get Putin. So I kind of like wonder, it's like after you get Damar, it's like after the show ends, you wonder like what comes next, what kind of does it swing right back to the right Kardashian? Because it's very easy for a new regime change to swing it right back to where it was. Like, look at what's happening in America between Democrats and the Republicans.
Just thinking in Picard, we didn't really check in with Cardassia and find out how they're getting on.
Yeah.
Speaking of great powers in the quadrant, then Gowron makes his return now. And you get this great scene with Worf where he's like, Worf, you are I don't trust you. But now Martok says you are his brother. That is good enough for me. Let's go have the wine.
Which we've also got precedent for, because I remember it's like, you made a great many enemies in the Empire, but I assure you, I am not one of them. And he does a classic, like, Robert Ryan, huge smile, huge eyes. And it's just the delivery of that line sticks with me. So when this happened, I was like, classic Gowron.
Yeah, it's very much that, isn't it? And they go off to drink the wine, and Sisko and Admiral Ross are not invited. But
because they want to like about how shit they are compared to their wonderful old ships who can beat the Breen.
Yeah, we have the bird of prey. It's the best in the galaxy. Proven.
Sorry, everyone with a ship who can defeat the Breen weapons, come with me. Oh, sorry, guys. Yeah. Sorry, did I? Don't know what I was thinking.
And then we get the next movement in the Bashir Ezri storyline. And this is that he's decided he's going to talk to her, so he lies about telling her about test results, which O'Brien rightly calls him out on, that's not very ethical. And this leads to this, in inverted commas, hilarious comic understanding where Bashir thinks she's saying she's with Worf.
It's so painful. Just fucking get on with it. I have no interest in the storyline. It's
you've got 2 more episodes of this.
It's painful.
If I'm remembering rightly, this is it's the penultimate episode when they finally resolve it.
I would have if they had just had them from the beginning, having a spark, having like few dinners, then they go off to this kind of like they get separated. Then when they come back, they're unsure. Like, that would have been better. This is just so fucking boring and played out. The misunderstanding, whereas just one line, all like if this would happen, oh God, I see what happened. What's happened is, as opposed to going, no, I'm not with Worf. Like you don't, why? Like you wouldn't put in 3 sentences before you get to what you're trying to say, like they do every time. And it's just so painfully obvious in this one. And it's
I think they thought that this was like classic screwball dialogue, like His Girl Friday or something like that, and it emphatically is not. I don't hate it as much as you guys, but it's not great.
It's like we go on so much about how well written DS9 is, what a great story it has, and then if there's someone new and they've just sort of discovered Star Trek and they're watching us and they go, oh, we'll watch these episodes, and that comes on really straight away. They've got to go, what the fuck are they on about?
I mean, I think you could ignore this in favour of everything else that's good in these episodes.
No, but you know what I mean? Because it's so early in the episodes.
The Bashir Ezri romance is not DS9's high point.
If I'm honest, I would have put anyone with Ezri but him. Just because it's like,
the thing is,
again, it'll never play any way else to me other than he didn't get the first deck, so he gets a pop at the second one, which I think
that is how it plays.
It's kind of disrespecting the character for me. I think Ezri is fine. I think it's too late to introduce her, unfortunately, but this just makes her character thinner, and like they keep on drawing it back to Jadzia storylines, where it just doesn't give her anywhere to go, even introducing her this late.
This is worse as a Will Walker story than the Odo Kira. It's worse, and their early parts when they got together, it's worse than that, and that was pretty bad.
I agree. But this scene does lead to Bashir discovering something about Odo.
Oh yeah, because he needed a couple of goo off him.
He needed the cup of goo. I do enjoy
did
that
like the
scene.
bit where he goes,
I need
and I want this back.
Goo.
I want this back later.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm surprised about is that you didn't have someone like O'Brien going to him as he went on the mission. Are you a bit shorter?
Yeah, that'd have been good.
Actually, this did make me think of a like this is really like just this shows you how my mind works. But he talks about like giving the sample, goes, I want that back later. But we know for a fact that Mora took samples of Odo when he was younger, which they never said about giving back. And there's a line which Odo says at one point, it's like, oh God, no. Do you know what? I've just realized, never mind. I mixed it up with a data line. Because I thought Odo said, it's like, I'm this height and weight and I will be until the day I die. But that's
No, that's data.
But if Odo at any point says that he'll weigh the same the day he dies and when he's born, it's lies.
Which we've got to assume that they replace it because like you see the Foundry giving her stuff away.
I bet you Starfleet will keep some samples on record of him, but they have also shown that he's grew as a child, so none of what I said makes sense.
This week when I was re-watching this, and like Bashir wanted the goo to be able to sort of make artificial organs, which makes sense, but you're going to need it so it doesn't revert back to goo, aren't you? So it stays solid. And I wonder if his research here was the start of what happened to the changelings that we saw in Picard.
Quite possibly, yeah. And well, let's talk about like we'll sort of conflate the Bashir storyline because it's a lot of sort of back and forth. Like he's trying to get the information that we can piece together as viewers that is from the Homefront Paradise Lost two-parter from season 4. And it goes back and forth a few times and they say they won't give him the information. Then he has to speak to the manager and he gets to the manager. And the manager's like, well, no, because we don't want you making a cure. So
yeah,
what you playing at?
I do love that he turns into like any middle class person in a restaurant. Well, I would like to speak to the manager. Then. Whenever we don't get service, we will resort to that.
We will indeed. And it works, kind of. And because he does get the information, but it turns out they faked it. So
well, they want really high-level security clearance as well to get it, don't they? And he has to go to Cisco to get the information.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But when he does get it, it's not even the real information anyway. And that's what leads them at the end of the episode to deduce that it's probably Section 31 involved.
Yeah, well, it works out that it's from the records Dr. Monroe.
Dr. Mora.
Dr. Mora. I'm thinking...
You're thinking of the guy who made tigers on an island, yeah.
Yeah. Very similar people.
Very similar. I mean, they both experimented
with
on
genetics.
People. Yeah.
I sort of have in the past wondered if that was the inspiration for his name, Moreau.
Probably, yeah. And then I've made a little note on this, and I didn't write down the exact dialogue, but I think it must have been another little bit about Ezri because I've just written down something Ezri. Which is clearly how important I felt that movement in the plot was.
What? I feel like you could do that for any line with her.
Well, to be fair, her only involvement in this first episode is that little bit with Bashir.
Yeah, true.
So you've been in the parts about him.
I think it's Bashir banging on about her again.
Oh no, it's not the bit. No, it's the next part when she talks to Worf, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think that's quite good. Is that part?
Yeah, it does start to get a bit better. Meanwhile, Descartes reads the book and it makes him blind. You see, you shouldn't go reading evil books.
Well, it was one that was for Gywin's eyes only.
Exactly. He's not the Kai of Bajor.
Yeah, and it's obviously that's the Pirates who've done that to him. He's gone against the Pirates.
Yeah.
Also, it was Pirate's pawn, and what they've always told you was true. It will make you go blind.
It will. It burn your eyes out, literally.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the stuff going on is all about Gowron. And so basically he's taken command, but he starts issuing orders that are not very tactically sound, seems to be the
we'll go on the offensive.
underlying thing. Yeah, and he's picking silly battles. And
like the whole point at the beginning was like, Martok went, we're going to have 1,500 Klingon ships ready in the area to hold them back. But we're just going to do little darting runs to keep them off balance, try chase us, so they don't amass to a force that'll come and wipe us out. And Gowron just goes against the whole plan and tactic, do his own thing.
It's also really interesting because, like, Sisko, sorry, I might be mixing up my parts, but there's a bit where Sisko completely calls him out, and Gowron even has nothing he can say to it, nowhere he can go. Like, he's going to say, look, those guys stayed a lot longer than I would. This is fucking ridiculous.
That's good.
Yeah.
And you know, the fact that, you know, Gowron's every instinct would be to try and kind of like get the bat'leth out, but yeah, he's just got nothing to say because he knows the second that he tries it against Sisko, he's going to look like an idiot. Sisko's probably really popular amongst the Empire because he is really good at war, which they fetishize. So,
I reckon at this stage, Sisko would chin Gowron as well if it came down to it.
I think if Gowron kind of went against the emissary of the prophets, not only like emissary Brayshaw, like not only does that look really bad with your allies, but also I think that's the point where like people in the High Council goes like, fuck off, no, right, okay, you're out of here. I think they would call a halt to him pretty quickly. Where he can't push his weight too far, but he can take over the fleet and keep going. He just has to take some shit for it.
Yeah, and it's going to come to a head in the next episode. A couple of other bits this episode then. I like the bit where Descartes, after he's been made blind, he says something like, a Cardassian doctor had cured me of this hours ago.
Yeah.
Feel like it's almost a nod to Chekhov in the original series. A Russian doctor would have had this cured in no time, and they would have been pissed on vodka whilst doing it.
There's a little lady in Moscow invented this.
Yeah. And then the episode finishes with the revelation that Odo was infected back in season 4, which means Section 31 effectively set out to commit genocide before the actual war had started, really.
Well, debatable, but yes.
Yeah.
Like we've had this debate lots of times.
We have.
This, and we're not all going to agree on it ever.
The only thing which I do find with this plot line is that it's kind of like it feels like they overstate, like or over repeat from the audience point of view, because it's like they've got, when he first goes on the mission, Odo goes, yes, but I'm keeping it from Kira.
Oh yeah,
Kira
they do that.
But I know that he's hiding it. And then the end, they have to have a moment where they both reveal. It would have been so much better if he at the beginning said it. You don't hear from Kira, and then at the end she goes, "Well, of course I fucking knew." Like, you know, they should have saved that up. It feels a bit overstated. Once done it.
I do quite like the bit though where Garak sort of goes behind. This is taking us into the next episode, but yeah, so Garak sort of goes behind Odo's back because at first he says, "I won't tell Kira," but then he does. And then I do like Kira's reaction where she's like, "Well, I love him. Of course, I know that he's in pain. You know."
Yeah, I
do enjoy that.
When you got the scene where they explain they both knew, it's like, well, we already know that. It's
but yeah, you're right. They do.
Like, if we're jumping straight into here, you can actually see when Odo comes back from the mission. If you watch, he's limping.
Yeah, and
it's sort of like, it's a way that they're showing the audience that he's not right.
Yeah, and I like
without saying anything that there's something wrong here, because Odo doesn't limp, because if he gets a knock on his leg, he's not going to have a bruise or an ache there. It's just going to be liquid and then go back to what it should be.
I was just going to say, they already kind of did something similar as well with the female changeling when they've got her succumbing to it, and then she like it's just for like it seems like just for a very short moment you see her kind of disheveled, and then she snaps it back to face the
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I like the explanation as to why it's taken so much longer with Odo, because he doesn't shapeshift as much as the rest of his people.
Yeah,
And then because he's been doing it a lot more during this mission, so presumably when he were knocking about with Lars and turning into fire, that accelerated it.
I have a problem with this, that he says he doesn't shapeshift in the same way. Every time he's Odo, he's shapeshifting because his natural state is the liquid.
True.
I think maybe they're suggesting, like, I mean, I think maybe suggestion when something that he does regularly, something that he's used to, it's kind of comfortable to do. He's used those muscles, if you like.
Yeah.
Something new, he's using new muscles or muscles.
Changing from one shape to another sort of thing, rather than
no reason
taking on one shape all day.
There's no reason why they don't have muscle memory in the same way we do for the same forms. If it's a new form, more concentration, more whatever released in the body of a changeling, you know.
And then
I'll go with that.
We get increased tension with Lasat and Kira, where they have this sort of debrief at the start, and it's like, yep, you blew up a Jem'Hadar ship, but you put the bomb in the wrong place, so it will look that it blew up. Whereas Lasat's like, who cares? It blew up. What's your problem?
And Lasat keeps on like doing stuff like, my mate Kevin and the other cell. It's like, for fuck's sake, we don't use names. Like, and he keeps on.
You're not meant to know who's in another cell. We don't.
And you know he's just doing it because it's coming from like, you know, they are so disciplinarily raised from being children in Cardassia to always respect the state, always respect orders and everything, and it is just purely like, so you know there is no small measure, like there's no amount of him doing it by accident. It is all any other race you could say deliberate. Like any other race you could say part of it was like he's not used to the system, he's just not like, you know, he is winding her up, but he there is a chance he's doing part of it by mistake. There is not one chance he's doing any of this by mistake.
Yeah,
that's it. It's all about just having a dig at Kira, and you know, it's kind of like there's bigger things at stake at the minute, Lasat. You know, well, he's going to find out the hard way that he's the liability on the team rather than Kira, isn't he? So,
well, he is the liability.
We'll get there, yeah. Bashir then, he has this bit of a row with O'Brien where he's like, no, we can't draw out Area 51, Section 31. Too many numbers.
You know, Section 31, like they were behind Area 51.
That, of course, yeah.
Well, obviously.
Actually, in the books, in Greg Cox's Eugenics Wars series, it's Captain Janeway's ancestor, you know, the one where they have that flashback.
Yeah.
Oh, from
and she ends up
2 minutes or something. It's called.
Yeah, or 11:59 or something, because it's a minute to midnight, isn't it?
Yeah, it was the Millennium episode, which is it was fucking crap for a special.
It wasn't a good episode. She ends up working for going to Area 51, and you find out that it's they believe that the main aliens that are visiting Earth are the Ferengi because of what happened in Little Green Men, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good fun to read, anyway.
Jesus, though, I mean, you want to bring back one character? It's like, I know, the least popular episode of Voyager.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that.
Bring back that character.
Maybe the writers see it as a bit of a challenge. Like, can I redeem this character?
I was about to say, a lot of writers with books, when they do sort of like spin-off novels and that, do like to take sort of like your minor characters or your not popular characters and do something clever with them to make them turn them around.
Grant Morrison, who did a lot of work on Batman and loads of other DC.
Oh, yeah.
He has this thing, like he would purposely pick, like he found a way of kind of reclaiming Batmite, which is the silliest, goofiest character. And he had this goofy character coming to Batman when he was like locked up in prison, kind of going mad, and he appeared to him and he kept him sane. And it's like, he goes like, why do you keep him coming to me? He goes, don't you know, it's because I love you. and they kind of like brought it back and really wrote it up really well. I doubt they did that with the Janeway, like proto Janeway.
I'm that peculiar age where that animated series of Batman with Batmite was the one that sort of got, I'd say like the 60s one, but that was the one that I really remember at that age.
Yeah.
And for ages, I couldn't work out why Batmite wasn't in everything else. It was sort of like, what are you doing?
When they used to in Brave and the Bold, that was amazing. Like Brave and the Bold was a really good series, and they had the outrageous Aquaman. Like every time it's like outrageous. I shall say, like, it was basically William Shatner as Aquaman.
Yeah,
fucking genius. But anyway, sorry, we very much
so. Yeah, back to the Founder then. They're worried about the Cardassians, and there's a great bit where she says like, if they hadn't destroyed the cloning facilities, I'd kill Weyoun now.
Yeah, I'd order you to commit suicide to replace you.
Yeah, he says it. She says it about 3 times, and it's like,
well, I like
how long are cloning facilities about? It's like, days, if not weeks. It could be months even.
Yeah, a very long time.
I love the fact it's like there's one of like this is one of maybe too much. Like there's only one other moment I can think of where Weyoun shows any degree of self-preservation. And that's when a previous one is going. It's like, you know what? Technically, Odo decided he wasn't one of the founders. So
yeah.
Other Weyoun. I'm just saying, you know. So I like the fact they've snuck it in, and it's much like what I've said about like kind of classic Spock. I like the fact that maybe there was maybe once a series you would have him break down into emotion, but they were so sparing with it. They were able to, and that's what I like about this. They've got this self-preservation thing there, but they use it like twice, and I can't think of another. There might be others, but very few and far between. And I love that restraint. I don't feel like writers of Star Trek now have that restraint to not overuse something like that.
This also shows you the real cruelty of the Founders.
Yeah.
The Founders know that the Vorta look at them as gods and will do what they say. And she's basically said, right, I want you, I don't like you, you're rubbish.
Yeah.
You annoyed me. And I want you replacing with the next Weyoun. I want you to commit suicide, but I need a cloning facility. You are going to tell me as soon as that is up and running, so I can tell you to kill yourself. And he's going, okay.
And the cloning facilities are phoning up again. It's like, you know, we're ready to open. Okay, we need a new lick of paint on the walls, but that can wait. It's like, no, we'll not have this open until it is fully like painted.
Yeah, I want it 100%. Wait, yeah.
He comes to inspect. He's going, those kids, no way. Right, start again.
This is possibly the cruelest thing that the Founder does on screen.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah,
and it's so subtly played by you.
And the thing you say about like the self-preservation, the thing with the Vorta is they're not meant to care. Like he should be just like, oh, that's absolutely fine. Clearly, this Weyoun's not good enough. Hopefully, the next one will be better. Have a nice day. But it is nice that they let you see just that little bit that actually maybe he's not 100% happy about it.
And I think if there's no excuse, I think he would have just done it. Like he would still do it. He
would have done, yeah.
But if there is a reason why it doesn't have to happen, I think he would grasp onto it.
Or maybe he'd have defected like the other Weyoun who defected. You know, maybe it's more.
Or maybe it's an ongoing fault in the Weyouns.
I think basically that Weyoun just had a dial, like, you know, when they genetic alter and you enhance this bit, I think they accidentally caught his like by enhancing his like bravado, self-esteem, whatever they added to. I think they accidentally hit on that slight bit of self-preservation, which to their minds they've always deleted, and it was an anomaly, but it was always there, and they just dialed it up, and he was able to break free. I think this version wouldn't break free. I think he would take himself to the gallows, but if they've got reason not to, I think he would take it still, because they have got that bit of self-preservation in there.
Let's talk about Sisko then, because we did a whole episode on In the Pale Moonlight, which is Sisko coming to that moment where he realizes he can live with being a part of something that's led to someone's death. Then this episode, he just pretty much sits Worf down and takes out a hit on Gowron. Like, there's no way he doesn't know what he's saying in that conversation with Worf.
No, but this is where the devil's in the detail, because when he was dancing in the pale moonlight, that was with Starfleet moral, by Starfleet rule, with him doing it within his Starfleet code. Respecting other species, like respecting the Klingon way of things, which is, if someone is unworthy for office, they fight to the death, and that's how it's solved. That is, I think he's got respect, like, and the fact that he spent so long with the different Daxes who've got huge links.
But he's still asking a Starfleet officer to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's within his role as, like, within his existence as a Klingon, though.
It is.
It is.
But then
Sisko knows
assassinating the Romulan was within Garak's moral code as a...
Sisko knows exactly what he is asking Worf to do. Without giving him an order, he's just said, do whatever you need to get this sorted.
Yeah.
And he knows Worf will go out and do it.
No one's claiming any different. I'm saying the difference is with Garak and with that data file and everything, there is no species who would be okay. There's no kind of like overruling kind of like a body who is okay with it. There's no like the Kardashians would go, yep, fair enough. He's breaking every rule. Like with this one, he's working within the Klingon system, within their correct way of doing things. It's not going towards it.
It would have been nice to have a moment with Sisko to acknowledge that, yes, it's within the Klingon code, but I don't like it.
I don't think so. I think it's okay to like it.
I think this is I think it's right that he plays it like this. That you don't. Sisko is not in these 2 episodes a great deal at all.
No, he isn't.
And I think, and he asks Worf, do what is necessary to get this sorted. We cannot let Gowron carry on. And he knows what Worf is going to do. But we don't need the moment that we had at the end of Pale Moonlight. I give this order.
No, I don't think we do.
Live with it. Because he's done that. We aren't, as an audience, they have treated us that we are intelligent enough and understand the show enough that he's had that moment already. He will cross the lines. He doesn't.
Yeah, that's my thought on it. I still think it's crossing a line.
Fair enough. No, I think that's a completely legit take, but I think it's also a completely legit take that the other one was breaking his Starfleet code, was breaking every code of.
It was
breaking the laws of war. Here, he's within Klingons, which he has respect for, which he's been brought up sort of like within Starfleet under Curzon Dax. He's been brought up to respect their way of things. So I'm saying I don't even think it's moral quandary for him to what I've experienced in this.
For Worf it isn't, but
no, I'm saying I don't think it's for Sisko. That's what I'm saying.
No, it should be.
No, but no, you still miss what I've said, because I've said under Curzon, he's been brought up to, like, within Starfleet to know. No, don't say no. Like, right, you've got your fucking opinion, mate. I've got mine.
No, I don't.
Sorry, I was going to say, I thought you were saying I was like, no for that. Like, that's a legit take.
No, I think
it's a legitimate take. It's
a legitimate take, but I think morally, from a Starfleet officer's point of view, he should not be using another species cultures to get someone killed. Basically,
that's my thoughts on
it. And that's my thoughts. He knows that Worf is perfectly right in what he does, but Sisko should be morally wrong as a Starfleet officer, to be going, well, it's Klingon, so it's okay if he goes and kill him. No, it should be against. It's wrong in lots of ways, but Sisko has already crossed that line, and this is not. This is nowhere near the line he crossed before. So he hasn't got a problem crossing it. He's already over that line. He will do what is necessary.
I just think
it's necessary for Gowron to die.
I think Starfleet sometimes do. There is certainly a grey area within what Starfleet let other species do. This isn't a only time we've seen them conveniently use the rules of another species.
Yeah, and it's not the only time we've seen Worf go and kill a Klingon in order to put a new Chancellor in place. But at least Picard had the decency to give him a right bollocking after it.
Also, he goes, "You're relieved of duty. Right, you finished with that? Great, come on back." It's like, I mean, Picard was certainly playing it for all it's worth. I think Picard has as much blonde's hand, if you want to use that phrase, as Cisco does here. He used Klingon in the same way, but he just didn't, like Cisco didn't have the time to fire him and rehire him later.
Yeah, Cisco basically just went, yeah, go do it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think
I've got this problem called Gowron. Do what you have to do to sort it so he goes away. Wink, wink.
Yeah, that is what I think's going on here. And anyway, but Worf, to be fair,
it's not the way of the Federation. Okay, Facebook users with you guys, and Gold Cat!
We mentioned Gold Cat.
Gold Cat.
We probably have. But Worf, to be fair, does try and pass the buck a little bit. 'Cause he's like, Martok, here. Martok, why don't you get Gowron challenged? Know what I mean?
He's doing it the right way because Martok's the head of his family.
Yeah, and Martok ultimately is the one who should be leading the Empire, and spoilers will be by the end of the episode. So,
yeah, I also love. Yeah, sorry. Is it right if I jump ahead just a little bit? Because I also love the fact that it's like, I won this glorious battle. Now you take it. Like, it's that Klingon thing. It's like,
and the way the Klingons
you get to nominate anyone you want to be.
The way the Klingons are like, Worf. He's like, hear me. Martok is the lead. Martok.
I feel like this would not be a Klingon way. It's like, yes, if you win the glorious battle, pick something you want.
Yeah, but evidently it is. There's a really good scene between Damar and Kira where we find out Damar's family have been killed, and he gives this big speech about how can you possibly support a government who would do something like this. Who would do it? And Kira's like, yeah, who'd do that, Damar, eh? And it's just a great turning point for Damar that he's like, oh, yeah, I used to be a right knobhead, didn't I?
Yeah, I did that.
Also, doesn't it show as well, like it shows his personal growth, it shows his personal growth, because she's afterwards going, fucking hell, I should have baited him. And it takes Garrick, who is kind of like, who is very wise in these things, to go, it's like he needs to realize that he needs to hear this. He needs to grow. Like, if he doesn't hear this, he's not going to be the leader we want him to be. He needs to have this thrown in his face that he used to be that guy. And it's like, that's what Kira, until then, though she feels guilty, which first who killed Kira would not have had any qualms about doing that.
There's a lot of this episode and the last episode with Garrett, with Kira, and he's very much the Jiminy Cricket conscience of Pinocchio telling you, you should do this and don't do that, and explaining it. He's very much the voice of conscience.
Cisco picked the team very well for this mission. Garak and Kira are a very good combination, and now that I think of it, it's not a combination we've seen a lot of up until this point, but they're a great pair to stick. I mean,
it's really nice.
Garak is great with anybody. Like, stick him in a scene with any character, and you're gonna get gold. So
it is brilliant through this whole thing. Like, you have the point where, like, when we go back to last episode when he walks in on Odo's flaking and apart.
Yeah,
Garak's seen that before because he tortured him.
Yeah.
Do that. So he's seen him like that, so it wasn't a shock for Garrick to see him.
I mean, I just really like that.
Garrick's just played his own game.
I mean, before they went on this little mission of rebellion together, I like the fact that Kira's there goes like, oh great, I gotta go off with Damar and Garrick. Jesus Christ, is it Christmas already?
Yeah, but you saw it like right from the start where Garrick was involved. He immediately was, she has to be a Starfleet officer, she can't be shown. He knows the game. He's planned all this.
Yeah, most likely.
As soon as he was asked, because like we've seen loads of these sort of things in the past with Garrick, and you have to really pressure him to do something. And here, there's no scene of any of that pressure. He's obviously straight on board. And he's gone, yeah, I'm playing my home world. This is my time to shine.
That's it. We're seeing a Garak who cares about something, which, apart from in Aberrantain, we've never really seen Garak who's driven by love of something rather than deviousness or fun or whatever.
But we're seeing him use his full intelligence is on display for everything. He's immediately going, that's a problem. This is how we solve it.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's not just going, there's a problem. He's going, there's a problem. This is what we do to fix it. He's giving the answers immediately. He's not playing any of his normal games.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is he's been raised by the state to be like this very secretive kind of like uber spy and everything. And now we see him kind of like he's faced with everything he knew of Cardassia having to die to have it reborn, to have it be free. And like you've got to think like along with, and they do kind of explore it in the last few episodes of his struggle with that, like about everything he's known, about everything he's faced over the years, like his love-hate relationship with his own people. And here he is kind of getting to shape the future of it. Like it must be just, I love all that complexity. Like he's been in exile for so long, an enemy of his people. And now here he is, a savior to his people amongst others. You know, it's a great arc he goes on.
Yeah. And we get a cool infiltration mission and everything that Kira and Odo, Garak and Damar. And you get the cool bit where the Cardassian like recognizes Damar and he goes, "Good luck, legged Damar." You can see that Damar's sort of building up as this here like folk hero now.
I thought he was going to slip him a gun for a second. It's like, good luck, Damar.
Well, they're doing this properly, and they've got to give up the guns when they get on board. Not allowed to be armed anymore. And but they obviously will have known this before they went on board. The intelligence, I assume their intelligence is good enough to know this was going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I just find it ridiculous, though. They're going to like, right, sending this mission. We're going to like totally trick these Jem'Hadar and everyone. Like, shall we send in Damar, the most famous like rebel, the person everyone see the screen? Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's the person.
We'll send in Damar. We'll send in Garak, the most famous exiled Cardassian.
Yeah.
And we'll send in Kira, the second in command of DS9 that protects the wormhole. No one will know any of these three at sight. There'll be no posters.
If you send in two unknown Kardashians, that's fine. It doesn't matter that you've got Kira there because she's meant to be the prisoner. In fact, that's perfect cover. Like we just look at the prize we've got. We need to take this through right now. But yeah, fucking hell, that's ridiculous. Yeah, the two most famous Kardashians, especially Damar, is on every wanted poster, every screen in Kardashian.
Yeah, the only way you could make it more stupid is if Gul Dukat had joined in.
Yeah, what they should have done for Damar to have a good disguise, they should have put one of them silly tashes that they had in that first TNG episode with Cardassians. And he should have just put one of them on.
The mask.
Yeah,
exactly.
Do you know what?
I wonder if they were having a bit of a go here, like racial stereotypes that
implying that all Cardassians
that all Cardassians look the same to the Jem'Hadar and the founders.
Do you know what they should have done? Actually, that little like helmet piece gives me an idea. You know, Superman. You know his buddy Clark Kent. You know he wears those glasses. I imagine if he took those glasses off, he'd look like a different man. I think they should put Damar in those glasses, and I know it sounds far fetched that would make him look like a different person. See Clark Kent's glasses. Exactly. Facebook user agrees with me that Clark Kent's glasses would be a foolproof disguise. I mean, obviously, it's never been tested in real world scenarios because, you know, it's not like his buddy Superman uses them. But, like, you know, who knows who Superman is in his daily life? We'll never find out. But Superman. I just think it might be worth a try. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with you. Should have worn one of the silly knickers helmets. And all of this leads to Resort finally turns on Kira and Damar kills Rasat, which, we saw it coming, but it's another turning point in Damar's journey.
I think it's one of the best paces just before that. where you get Oda comes in as the founder.
Yes.
Like we've all seen it. So you see family coming in, you think, oh, fuck, we're fucked here. But it turns out it's Oda and you've got the new plasma rifles. Can I have a look? And straight away, and hands it to Garrick. And Garrick's little face when he lights up when he gets the rifle.
And he just guns everyone down. But then Oda reckons he's surprised by it.
No,
like, did you really have to kill everyone? Like, of course he were going to kill everyone.
But Odo doesn't like killing people, does he?
I know he doesn't, but it's Garak. I mean, that's what was going to happen. Speaking of killing then, let's talk about Worf and Gowron. So Worf finally decides to challenge Gowron, and there's a great bit with Martok where he goes, Worf, this is madness. But then he smiles at him. He's like, wait.
Back to the Ezri Worf conversation.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you're right. That is a good bit.
Because I think that's really important in run up to this. And you have like Worf telling her, oh, you're still part of the House of Martok, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's Klingons for you.
It is, yeah.
Oh, and we're also ignoring the thing of Trills not reassociate. Anyway,
yeah.
We've since ignored all those rules.
Yeah, but that's sweet and all that. But then you get it where she goes, and she does speak honest, and she goes, the Klingon Empire should die. It doesn't function.
Yeah.
When was the last time you respected a chancellor? How many council members and chancellors have you had to hide the crimes for?
I mean, they're all corrupt.
Yeah. The whole thing needs tearing down and building properly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I quite liked in Discovery. The one thing which I thought they did really well, I love the fact that when we jumped so far into the future, we saw a united Romulans and Vulcans. I thought it was really nice. They allowed that species to evolve and be something different. And it's like, you feel like this is a turning point whereby Kardashian needs to change, the Klingon Empire needs to change. The more we flesh out these kind of characters, the more we see kind of like how, you could not survive on just pure warmongering forever. Like eventually it's going to break it under the weight. Especially when politics gets involved and people break.
That's it. It's the Klingons are almost as sneaky with politics as the Romulans are. Like, just about every Klingon story we've had from TNG onwards has been some clandestine political stuff going on in the background.
It's gone from being honourable to being the illusion of honour through cover-up.
Yeah, that's it.
It isn't the same anymore.
Yeah, it's like Gowron is doing all this with these attacks where so many Klingons are dying because Martok is popular that he wants him to die, basically.
Yeah, and like I was saying about when the fight starts, like, it's just that little smile from Martok. He's like, this is madness. But then the way he smiles, it's like, yeah, but you're happy about it. He's like, Worf's going to kill him. This is great.
Yeah. Well, I know what Worf's like in a fight.
Yeah. And the fight's not bad at all.
Also, I noticed like at the end. Oh, sorry. Let's talk about the fight. And then I want to talk
No, nothing. I just thought it was a pretty good fight.
I just love also the fact that usually in most kind of like certainly in human rituals, it's like close the eyes. They're like opening the eyes so you can face the afterlight.
Yeah,
and it's like it's such a nice twist on a human tradition.
Yeah.
But it's like you know instantly that's what it is. It's opening the eyes so we can see the afterlife, so he can go to Sto-vo-kor. Like he died in glorious battle.
Originally with that tradition, you put stones on the eyes and they were painted with eyes, so you could still look.
Well, it was coins originally, wasn't it? So you had money for the ferryman. I think.
There was coins for the ferryman. Yeah.
Before the coins, it was stones with eyes painted on them that were used.
But it's just an interesting little twist on our mythology. It was nice, and it didn't need to be overstated. They didn't like have a minute where they explained what was happening. They just touched the audience, which I think in this
we've seen it before. We've seen it before. We know what's happening. We understand the tradition. We saw it in first season of TNG,
and it's done most of the time. Sometimes we forget, but never mind.
Well, when you die in battle on Tuesday, you don't open the eyes again.
That's it. Yeah. Different days. Yeah, that's the day of Feklar or someone, so you don't do it. And that more or less brings us to the end of the episode. We've got O'Brien and Bashir are going to lower Section 31 in, which we're going to get next week.
Yeah.
Odo's looking very rough.
It's looking a bit flaky, a bit leprosy at the moment.
And we've got 2 episodes before the finale, so we'll be back.
Let's remind everyone, we will be live at Sci-Fi Weekend.
We will.
From the Reed Cutters. We think about
1:30, we think.
1:30 in the afternoon, because the Trooper Meet's been brought forward this year. Trooper
Meet's 3, isn't it?
Yeah. So we might go out 1 o'clock instead of 1:30.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll firm it up. Keep an eye on our socials, and
that's where we'll be doing the final episode.
And the High Council. If you're not already a member of the High Council of Geeks Facebook page, you can look for that now. That hosts our podcast. And next week we'll be back with the last 2 episodes before the finale.
That's the final episodes of the 8-parter.
Yes. And so if you want to get in touch with us in the meantime, we're at RetrekPod. We're retrekpod@gmail.com. We're on all the socials, including Retrek Model Studios. Elliot, what have you got going on there?
Well, I started my 500 subscriber special.
You did.
So all you have to do, look for my 500 subscribers special, leave a comment, and you will be in the draw to win this lovely kit from Cosmic Scale Models. Little garage company, so I'm supporting a little business instead of one of the big guys. So it's a pretty unique kit for you to get.
Excellent.
We had a tutorial video out at the weekend. Anyone who's doing models and wants to create a mist effect, I showed how to modify bits and pieces to create a mist effect for your models. I'm not sure what video will be out next because I'm busy building a cosplay for the weekend, which is, I haven't really got time to video while I'm doing it at the same time.
Okay, and Dr. Squee, what have we got on the Dr. Squee show?
Tomorrow at 7, every Thursday at 7, the Dr. Squee show. I'm talking to a friend of the show, Kenton Hall. He is a wonderful writer, director, actor, musician. He does all sorts. He's going to be talking to me about his new audio play, which is London After Midnight. It's got in it Art Malik, the wonderful actor, Dan Starkey, who a lot of people know as Strax and many other Sontarans and Doctor Who. It's just got an absolutely great cast. And it's like, I don't think I can say this because me and Kenton have become buddies over the years. It is a batshit and a wonderfully batshit idea, which is transformed into wonderful audio, but it's based on a silent movie. He's on an audio drama of a silent movie. And anyone who does that has my kind of like attention. It is really good as well. He sent me a screener copy. It's wonderful. Please do check out the interview and then do go and check out London After Midnight. Great kind of haunting ghost story. It's sort of like it's to do with vampires and stuff, and you can just sort of like they've done loads of lovely little effects. Sorry, I'll be quick, but like they've done lovely little effects, like they put a little hiss on the soundtrack, like so it gives that feeling of kind of like an old drama and stuff. So how the hell they got this from a silent movie though? It's just brilliant. Yeah,
fantastic. And that'll do us for this week then. So thanks for trekking with us this time. We will see you next time on the Retrek.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Drag off LLAP.
Fascinating.
Wait a minute. Clark Kent, Superman. No, never mind.